Jackson.
What's going on, everybody? The All-Star break has officially ended. I think the first games just started yesterday or something along those lines. So we're going to just unbox and look at everything now that I got over that weekend. But there is a couple things I got towards the end of the week prior. So we're also going to do that. Obviously, we got 5 pairs of shoes here. It's a couple clothing items. I did just actually get this hat too. But we'll jump right into it here. We'll do the jacket. It's like a pullover jacket. It's actually pretty nice. It's got the Chicago Bulls here. You know, the black red, but like the little shine to it, which I think would look incredible with like the Brett 11s, something of that nature. So it's a pretty cool little, I think it's a starter pullover jacket. So it's not too bad. This next item here, I don't know if anybody knows, well, it might be loud on the mic. I'm sorry about that. I don't know if anybody knows the brand Dark Sport. I've been buying a lot of their stuff. They tend to do like some oversized t-shirts and stuff. So here's the front. Their wolf is like their main logo here, like a little spider thing. Well, on the back here, it's a Venom t-shirt. So, you know, a little collab. They got the, you know, Venom on the back there. Really nice shirts. They got a whole ton of stuff through the week leading into the All-Star break. They actually did like each day was like a different theme. Obviously, this day they did like a Marvel thing. They had Venom and Rampage, I think his name was, the other guy. So that's a pretty cool shirt. Again, they make some pretty cool stuff. If you haven't heard of them, I'd say go check them out. There's tons of stuff on there. They just did a Harley Davidson collaboration maybe a couple weeks ago, which I have a few shirts from too. This is another Dark Sport shirt. So you see, for any of my wrestling fans, as I am, you got the Austin 316 on the front. You got this, you know, his skull logo with Stone Cold on the back. Again, just a really cool shirt. So I'd say if you guys haven't heard of Dark Sport, I'd go check them out. They make some pretty cool stuff. We'll just go straight into the sneakers here. Now, I'll let it be known, I skipped almost everything from the Nike basketball collection, or I believe they called it the warning label. The only thing I would have actually gotten was the book 2 and the warning label. I have not seen those anywhere besides online. And if I do find them on like GOAT or something like that, they're about $400 or $500. So, you know, that whatever. The only other ones, I'm not even a big LeBron shoe. Like I like the older LeBrons, nothing new, but the LeBron ones were pretty cool. But again, I don't even think they released those. The ones I did think about were the Ja Morants, but you know, I passed on all the Nike stuff. I did get a lot of Adidas, and we'll start with this first one here. Oh, we got to slide things out of the way here. So this first pair, you can see the logo on the box. You probably already know whose shoe this is. And this is the Adidas issue, or Don 7, something along, I think it's the 7, in the All-Star colorway. I like that with this All-Star pair, they actually did kind of like a wild colorway for it, right? From the blue to the orange, purple, kind of like like a darker blue across the upper. You got this little shroud here you unzip. It's like a sock liner on the inside. I have tried them on. You know, they're a little snug. I think the one part that kind of bothers me, there's like extra like padding on here right by the heel. Now, granted, it's stable. Your foot's not going to move from it, but it'll take some getting used to here. There's some details on this shoe that I think are pretty cool, right? Donovan Mitchell nickname is the or Spider. On the bottom here, you know, you got some spider webs here, so that's pretty cool. On the toe box, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but on the toe box here, it kind of looks like a spider web design. You know, it's just overall, it's actually a pretty cool shoe, and it's cheap. I think that is one thing that they've done with the Donovan Mitchell line, is that they keep it cheap, and I really don't see a lot of people like complain about his shoes. One thing that threw me off is, like, you know, it looks like carbon fiber here, but it's like you can, it's soft. It's, you know, you can squish it, but it goes kind of hard at the bottom. So that's pretty cool. You also have the Spida logo on the bottom there as well. The bottom's really cool. I like that, you know, the orange to the blue. No, overall, you know, if you want to hoop in it, I've genuinely not heard a bad thing about this shoe and playing in it. Again, and as I said, it's cheap. I think it was like $120, $125, something like that. So super cheap, super accessible. I mean, they got a ton of different colors and it's comfortable. That is the one thing I was kind of shocked about, because this shoe does not have boost. I believe, what do they call it? The like Light Strike Pro, I think that's what they call this cushioning. But I mean, also you got just because I just saw it, it says Don on the little heel tab there. But no, for as cheap as it is, it's super comfortable. Obviously, this pair is gonna be a little difficult to wear, being that it's so loud. But you know, it's still a nice shoe. You still, you know, but that's what the All-Star shoes used to be, right? They used to be a lot of bright colors. So yeah, this the Donovan Mitchell issue 7 All-Star. And being a Cavs fan, and I briefly mentioned this in a prior video, I watched the first game of him coming to Cleveland, and I was sold. I was immediately sold, and I was like, yeah, I got to add a pair into my collection, because, you know, I can't be sold on a guy if I ain't going to wear his shoes. So this is the James Harden Volume 10. I believe this colorway is called the Hellcat. I think it's super simple, but also at the same time, I think it's super sick. I don't exactly know what this upper is. If I could explain it, obviously I know it's Adidas, but if I could explain this upper the best, it feels like a foam posit. It's not nearly as like hard, but like that's kind of what it reminds me of. Now it's, you know, a shiny upper along it, the 3 stripes there. I love that it's got like the hints of red on the bottom here, you know, the Harden logo on the heel tab. They are comfortable. It does have the boost. Obviously the boost, I think, is not what it was, you know, I think 10 years ago, something like that. But it's just a super simple shoe, but it does look really nice. And I was like, I have to get it. I think James Harden has looked incredible since joining Cleveland. So, you know, Cavs 2026 champions on the way. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a simple shoe. It looks nice. And it is pretty comfortable. It'll take some getting used to wearing just a little bit, but overall, you know, it is a really nice shoe, and figured I had to get them. Again, and they're on the cheaper side. I think these were like $160, something like that. After, you know, the tax and the shipping, that was about $180, $190. But, you know, overall, it's still a really nice shoe. Super simple, but, you know, it's also really nice. So this is the Harden Volume 10 Hellcat. All right. This next pair, judging by the box, look how massive this box is. Like I'll hold up the Harden box to it. Like, same size. The same size. It engulfs the Harden box. Right, both size 11s. And if you guys have been kind of paying attention to Adidas, you know what these are and who has been the face for them. So this is the Adidas AddiStar XLG 2.0. I mean, these things are massive. I mean, hello. I understand the concept behind this shoe, and I know it's the 2.0. If anybody doesn't know, I think it was early last year or something like that, Adidas released, actually they just released, I think, a couple more colorways, literally just the other day on the Confirmed app, of the Adidas Jellyfish, which was a collab with Pharrell Williams. Now, the sole issue with that shoe is it retails at like $400. So it's not exactly practical as for a normal person to just say, yeah, let's go pick up the Jellyfish. So, I mean, it was a bulky shoe. It was a bigger shoe, right? And so, yeah, of course, if that's your thing, you want to go just drop 400 casually, then fine, right? Well, I don't know much about the 1.0s. but I don't know much about the 1.0s, but the 2.0s kind of stood out. I believe that this is probably the more like hyped up colorway here. This was made as like a cheap version of the jellyfish for everyday people to just go and get the shoe, which is fine. I absolutely have no problem with that. Obviously, I do have a pair. Now, I will say the materials, I've seen a pair of jellyfishes in person, so the material on here isn't nearly as good as those, right? I mean, you slash the price almost, 3/4 of the way. It's understandable. But it's still, you got the mesh all the way around, a little, kind of breathable here. You got this this is more like a plasticky, orange around here. Same with, the three stripes over here. The one thing that concerns me, and I've tried them on a couple times here, is the heel. The heel is, I mean, it feels fine, but putting them on, my heel slips. And I don't know if I need to just tie them super tight to get that to not happen. But, again, that's a personal complaint. Somebody else may not have that issue. So I'll, take that with a grain of salt. The heel here, though, is going to give you like an extra inch to if you're wearing these. So, shout out to all the short kings if you go and buy a shoe like this. The only other thing I can add about it is if you're going to get these, you're going to need some baggy jeans. If you try to wear these with not necessarily skinny jeans, but like slim fit jeans, it's going to kind of look ridiculous. So get those baggy jeans, kind of make your legs look a little bit wider. Yeah, I mean, the comfort's okay. I think the way they call them the Adiprene or the Adiprene, I'm not really sure what that kind of, comfort details. I'm not really sure what it's made out of. I know it's not Boost, but it's not bad. It's an interesting sneaker. It's huge, but it's still a pretty cool colorway. And at one point, I'm gonna end up obviously wearing them. So this is what I got. This is the AddiStar XLG 2.0. All right, this next pair. I've always liked LaMelo Ball. I actually got to see him play when he was in Spire in Ohio. When I don't even remember who or where they were playing. I just know I went and got to see him play in high school. And I should have done it when I had the chance. I should have just bought the Rick and Morty MB1s because I actually really like them, and I like them a lot more now. And I just should have just done it when I had the chance. These also dropped, I think it was Thursday prior to the All-Star game. If you see on the front here, you see the Fast and Furious here. If you know the movie, you should know the car. It's probably the most famous car from the movies. This is the MB.05 Fast and Furious. I believe LA's added to the end of that name. Why, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, you got the Fast and Furious on the back, Melo's logo there. It's a very interesting, that's the way I'll put it. This not from here. I've only seen the Melo Ball ones, the MB ones. I'm not sure 100% on the MB.05. So I don't know if this, not from here is a normal detail on the shoe, or this, it says 1 of 1 all over it too. So I'm not sure if that's like a normal for this, this model, but it's intriguing, right? The shoe is designed, the colorway is designed of the Supra that Brian drove in the very first Fast and Furious. And let's be honest, he's probably the best character from that entire franchise. So, something that I grew up watching, right? And I wanted a pair of Melo Balls just because I find him, one, just entertaining to watch. If you guys haven't watched him at all, if you had a chance, I'd say do it, just because he does a lot of goofy stuff on court, but he's very enjoyable to watch. The bottoms are pretty cool. I really like the skull that's on like the heel there. But it's something that I wanted, and I should have gotten the Rick and Morty's when I had the chance. I did not do it. I was a little, upset with myself on that one, but when they saw this collab, and to be fair, this was the only shoe from the Fast and Furious collaboration that I felt was even nice. I was not a fan of the other 3 pairs they did. I couldn't name you the models. I'm not huge on Puma, but I did see them all. And to me, that this looked the best. And I know it's pretty bright, it's pretty out there, but if you don't have any kind of like super bright, like, crazy out there shoes, it's fine. But like, I feel like you always got to have at least one. I know I have these here now, but super bright orange shoe is gonna, you might get some looks for that. These little the little straps here, they're just Velcroed. Like, you take them off and on. But other than that, I mean, it's a bright shoe and it's interesting, and it's pretty cool to have. So this is the MB.05 in the Fast and Furious colorway. All right, last but not least, obviously you all know the box. We all know what this box entails. If any of you guys hit on, I know I said it in the reverse infrared video, if you guys hit on any of the Union stuff, good on you, right? Good job. I'm happy for you. I did have a quick complaint before I do open the box. I understand the All-Star Week and all these crazy releases were going on in LA, right? That's where the All-Star game was. And I understand when they do these All-Star games in whatever city, they tend to go all out and just release a whole bunch of stuff. There's always these big sneaker events for each brand, and that's fine. My complaint is, why is Sneakers app allowing, like, even giving me the a notification of like the Sneakers pass for anything that goes on, but you can't do it if you're not in LA, right? If they like clearly, like, they have the location, right? They use your location. So why is it that I can open that Sneakers pass, enter in something, or like, my information, and then it tell me, well, you're not within the LA area, so you can't be part of it. That part, I don't know, that part, it could be just a, whatever complaint. That part pretty much bothered me a little bit, because I was just like, why do I get this if you guys already know I'm not going to be able to get anything? I don't know. Just a quick complaint of mine. But again, you guys know the box. I just recently got the Jordan Union 1 in the red. And I say, I actually don't even know the name. The box says Chicago Shadow. So obviously you got the Chicago 1 here, the Shadow upper on it. Let's take the tag out, because, I feel like you have to have the tag out, right? I entered multiple raffles. I don't know if the raffles, again, you had to be at LA, but I entered multiple stores, multiple raffles for any Unions or any of the Union stuff that dropped over the weekend, or the All-Star weekend, I should say. So if that was the case, well, then so be it. Didn't get any of them. That's okay. But I did just recently pick these ones up, the Chicago Shadow Union 1s. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Union 1s. There's a couple of them that actually look pretty good to me. This Chicago Shadow 1, this one looks fine to me. I think it's pretty cool. The ones that are dropping next week, I think it's like I don't know, what is it? The Chicago Royals or something like that. Those ones are pretty cool, which I actually love that we at least get a chance on Sneakers to attempt to get these shoes, because this, either being in the city that like an NLA, or, whatever, is kind of frustrating, because, not many people are going to be able to just fly out across the country. But this shoe is actually incredible. The quality of the leather, it's super soft. You got a little bit of like suede up on the the collar there. Now you get 3 laces with it, right? You can see the black, yellow, and the cream. I might just do the yellow, make it like really stand out. I know there's like hints of yellow right on the Union LA tag here, but so I may end up just throwing the yellow ones on, because I think that might actually look pretty good. I don't shop at the reseller stores because they tend to, price gouge any penny that they can. I'm talking the stores that had Panda Dunks still 2 years ago marked at almost double the price that you could, not saying StockX is the place to go, but when StockX has something listed at $100 and you got it listed $250, $300, there's a problem there. But I walked into the mall, stopped in there, just kind of looking around, saw these in a size 11 at like $299 or something like that, which, then I went on and checked out what StockX GOAT had them going for. And that's, it's about the exact same price. So I will, I'm actually I'm okay with that at this time around. But it's a really, really beautiful shoe. I really come around to them take not just the Union stuff, but like just in general. I know like the black toe, the reimagined black toes, the reimagined white cements, which are somewhere over here. Where they've taken this midsole and kind of made it a little yellow, made it more like a cream color to make it seem like it's old. I was never a huge fan of that, but it has really grown on me in the last couple years, especially with the threes, mainly more with those reimagined white cements than anything else. But so that's pretty cool. The tongue, also like that cream color there. Obviously the blue Jordan Union tag. It's a super clean shoe. It's different, right? If you're going to wear jeans with it, though, most people are only going to see that Chicago, which is, fine, right? You can't like complain if that's what people are seeing. So it's just like, yeah. So I would say a decent price. I really hate paying resale on things because it's pretty painful sometimes. But I mean, when you got all these for retail, which you don't think any of this was actually, these sold pretty crazy. I think the next day, a lot of sizes were sold out. Yeah, so those were all right. We can make a cameo if you want. I think I mentioned that in the unboxing video. Obviously, these were picked up on the Saturday of the All-Star break. This was this was the big GR release of the All-Star break, the reverse infrared 6s, which also seem to not sell very quickly. Now, I still think you can still get some of the smaller pairs, but the super small to the super big pairs, I think are cleared out. Still saw them on shelves today while I was at the mall. But yeah, this is everything I got from the All-Star break. It's not bad. I know there's a lot of Adidas here. This is probably the first pair of Pumas I've ever bought. But, to be fair, if this didn't have any connection to LaMelo Ball, I probably would have never bought it. So LaMelo Ball pretty much sold this pair for me. If Harden wasn't balling out already, which, look, I don't need him scoring 25, 30 points a game, but he's dealing pretty well for us. So if he wasn't doing that, I probably wouldn't have really worried about these. Again, they're still pretty cheap, so no biggie. And then I love the colorway on the Mitchells. But so this is everything from the All-Star break. We're definitely going to do the yellow laces on the Unions. I think that would look, the black is pretty much too simple. We see that with Chicago's all the time. So we're definitely going to put the yellow laces in. So this is, everything from the All-Star weekend. Please hit that like and subscribe, turn on your post notifications, follow all my socials. And we will see you guys on the next one.
Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How much the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam.